When the last time you been to Chuck E. Cheese? Besides this weekend. Wait, when you say you went? Friday?
Friday, yeah, because the kids were out of school Friday and Monday.
What? You know what? I was going to ask you.
Day, and then there was like a teachers and service day, I think, on Monday.
It seems like Xavier is never in fucking school, dog. Like every time I come over, I'm like, he always there.
Because
What, dude, what?
he get out of school at like 3 o'clock, so what you expect?
I expect his ass to be in school.
You come over at 3:30, man. Why you ain't in school? Taylor ain't even in school at 3:30. So,
She's a senior. She shouldn't be in school.
well, maybe school times were different. I think when we were in school, we got out at 5:30.
Yeah, see, and you say you smart. You was a dumb motherfucker if you got out at 5:30. Shit,
There was
you.
only 3 of us in the class.
Yeah. Did y'all have a little bus after how y'all get home? A little bitty bus. Drop you off
We
at
never
your
got
front
to
door.
leave the classroom except for lunch.
Y'all were dangerous. That's what it was. That's what it sounded like to me.
One dude had a helmet. He used to eat paint.
He had a helmet.
I'm just playing.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I believe you 100%. Look, man. Hey, we got some special guests in the house tonight.
We talking about
I
school.
said tonight. It's daytime like a motherfucker, ain't it?
But tonight, what is in that cup?
You know what's in that cup.
Time.
You know what's in that cup.
Anyway, so we got some special guests.
I'm gonna let you introduce.
Today.
Let you introduce.
Since we talked about schools, I don't really want to jump into it. I'm gonna let the ladies, tell the story, because when it was brought to my attention, it was so compelling and outlandish that I was like, man, we gotta have them on the show to tell their story so people can know what's going on in our education system these days. Because you think it's 2023. We've, I guess you would say, evolved so much as people that you wouldn't think something like this would still happen.
Well, I don't know what the something is happening, so
Well, then we're
gonna have to let them talk.
okay. Well,
So let's talk. So let's see. So what's going on? Tell us about it. What's happening?
Oh man, we're two lovely women that married, committed relationship. Had one child and decided to expand our family, and God blessed us with twin daughters. So now we're raising 3.
Nice. Ain't that a
So
bitch when you want 2 and get an extra one? Want to get one of them motherfuckers back?
I mean,
We
that's
want a
a
refund.
story in itself, actually, because IVF is not a fun time to be had for all. But we started with trying to do one embryo, and when we tried again, and my lovely wife over here next to me was like, not down with implanting 2.
So it was your
A
fault.
long time ago that we were going to have twins. Well, before we even started the whole process, I just had a feeling
You
that
knew.
our luck was that we were going to end up with twins.
And then what?
twins running your family?
Yes.
Oh, so yeah,
Oh. But you know what? Let me ask a question about that, because twins run in my family.
Oh God, I'm so glad you are not a twin.
Dog. If I was a twin,
Spared the world.
I know, right?
no, you don't understand. If I was a twin and he looked just like me, you know how much shit I would have got into. Still today.
Hold on. Anyway, so back to the story. So
Yeah. So
We do that a lot. We'll talk about something, and then before you know it, we're talking about some
Totally.
other shit. So I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna mute my mic.
thank you.
Totally okay. So the second round of IVF, I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I can't do this bleep again. I think we need to do 2. And she's like, no, 1. And I was like, no, 2. And she's like, no, 1.
You know what's right. You knew.
No, because our luck, we would have still had 2. Even if we did one embryo, it'd have split. So I think we were destined
So
to
it was
have
gonna,
twins no
it was
matter
gonna
what.
work. It was gonna be this way anyway. So you know what? So you were right. You okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
I was
gonna blame
okay.
you
I was
for the
okay.
twins. Not,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna blame you for the twins. Nah. Anyway, let's
But
go.
yeah,
Let's go
it
ahead.
does run in the family. But yeah, so in June 2020, in the middle of the early parts of the pandemic, our beautiful twin daughters were brought into this world, and happy, healthy, thank goodness, no issues. I think a little scary for me. That was like my first COVID test. Was, hey, we're about to have the C-section. We need a little swab. And I was like, I've been at home for the last umpteen months.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. I don't have COVID.
Right.
That shit might hurt a little bit.
Trying,
And
her
if I
trying to
do-
go travel. She wanted
Yeah.
to. And the doctor was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I
You were
got.
trying to go somewhere.
Well, I was trying. Well, this was like March. I was like, one last hurrah.
Well, when did COVID hit? Like when did we go on lockdown?
Well,
You remember? It was March.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
you were trying to go right in the beginning of
no,
it.
but it hadn't really
It
hit
was like
our.
early March when she was
Yeah,
trying to go.
I was really.
She wanna go
I was
travel.
trying to go like one last hurrah.
Because you knew we were about to go on lockdown.
No, no one really
No,
knew how
I don't
bad it
know.
was.
We're
Yeah.
talking about the
Yeah, we were
babies.
about to
Oh,
have
goddamn.
babies in
You
June, so we were
see
trying
how
to
my
go
mind
travel.
think? My mind don't even think about kids.
He was
I was
free to
somewhere
travel.
completely. No, I was thinking about COVID. I wasn't even worried about them kids no more. What the fuck? I'm sorry.
No.
Y'all kids. I
So,
love y'all
mean,
kids.
no one knew how bad COVID was gonna get. You heard about it,
Fix hers.
much further away from us.
Yeah.
And so we were just like, oh, we'll just do a little quick trip somewhere, come right back, and that'll be the last hurrah.
And you were like, no, I'm good. Because
No, I mean, she was getting big. Girl was big.
wait, who carried? You
I
carried.
carried, yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what?
She told me early on, if we want to expand this family, it's gonna have to be you.
Oh,
So she said the kitchen
You
is
know what?
closed.
and that's fucked up that I just automatically thought you carried the baby. Why is
Shame
that?
on you.
I know it. I
Right?
know it.
People, that's to be honest, it's what people do. They look at me like, former athlete. You don't want to do that. Why not?
Right.
Who says there has to be a mold?
Well, I mean, you're right.
People see a certain mannerism, dress,
Right.
and they just make that assumption.
100%.
But I think this goes back to when I was a kid. I always wanted to have a child.
Right.
Like that was just what I wanted to do. So me being a lesbian and maybe probably a little bit more masculine-esque clothing does not change what was going on inside of me. So the experience to me was like, what in the world is happening
Right.
to me?
Right.
I have no control. And I think the OB was like, well, this is what parenthood is.
You about to have a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
but
that's
she
going.
wrote-
Like,
control.
they don't talk about this shit in the movies. This is not. They make it look so easy and so effortless, and this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write a book. She's like, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna tell people what the real truth
Real
is.
deal.
About
Yeah.
pregnancy.
Because
Hey, let's
that
do
little,
it. Hey.
What to expect when expecting? Use my phrase, bullshit.
Because she was like, none of this shit is right. This must be for other people,
Right.
Yeah.
but not
I,
for her.
I understand why there's only children in the world because
It's rough.
it jacked the body up.
I am the more femme and girly girl of the relationship, but we had friends that were more tomboy like her, and like we cut some people out because they treated her badly because she wanted to carry a child, and they would
really?
never. Yeah, I mean, we cut some people off
That's good.
because
got
they
to
were
go.
Well-
acting like jackasses to her and like making fun of her because she wanted to carry. And
But why though? Like what?
Because
they're
that's just
the
what we
boys.
do,
Oh,
Yeah,
They're
this
the
is
boys.
oh, okay.
she was one of the boys before she said that she wanted to have a child,
I got
and then
you.
all of a
I see what
sudden
you're saying.
she wasn't one of the boys anymore.
Yeah, that's fucked up. They weren't
None of
friends
them
anyway.
would've.
Gotta
That's
go.
what
You
they
gotta
were.
go.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, we cut them off.
That is messed up that you are the one that asked for two of them,
Mm-hmm.
and you had carried two
And I
goddamn
remind her,
babies.
oh, you're the one that wanted this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it does not get skipped
I wouldn't
from the
either.
memory.
I wouldn't either. That would be shit I'll bring up every 15 minutes.
But here's my thing. We could have done one and it would have split. We would have had identical, which to all the identical twins out there in the world, there's nothing wrong with you. But I think fraternal's a little bit easier because you can have your own identity.
Right.
And you don't look like
Exactly.
carbon copy to the person to the left of you.
So yeah, so so y'all are on the show. What's happening? What's going down?
Y'all have two beautiful twins, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there'll be 3 in June.
Okay.
Yeah, so like any other normal parents, guess what? It's time to think about what's their educational path going to be.
Right.
What do we want for them? I have an older daughter that I came into the relationship with. She was a teenager, so my wife had her before, so she was cooked, raised. Finishing high school by the time I came into the picture. So reverse parenting.
Right.
So I never had to think about, okay, what's the educational path? Montessori school, private school, daycare to public school. Like, what is best? My background is private school. That's all I know. I was in private school from the age of 3 to 12th grade before I went on to college. So that's all that I know. My wife is a teacher, and so she teaches in the public school system. My older daughter went to the public school, so that's all they know. So we wanted to take a unified approach to it, and I might have stepped into it a little bit. I was like, my background, the education that I got, I felt, was strong, and I wanted that for our children. And so we're looking at, all the different possibilities, what monasteries were charging with the time. And I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. Why would we do that? You got to pick the kid up at 2:00 and you don't start till 8:45.
Right.
I'm like, and you're charging how much?
Right.
No, thank you.
Right.
I was like, what are you teaching them?
How to get out of school.
Like Xavier, I'm just kidding.
Right. Be at home.
And so then I was like, well, why don't we look at, schools similar to what I went to and see, what that possibility is. Now, everyone, we're not stupid. We understand that we're in a same-sex marriage and, but to our defense, we're like, come on, the world around us is changing. Like, we can't be this harsh, right? And so we started looking at some Catholic private schools because, I grew up Catholic. And those are I went to Catholic private schools.
I did not.
She did not. I will tell you, my wife was not.
I was not a fan.
Immediately a fan of it.
I'm about to ask later on, what's it like being a black Catholic? That's a whole nother topic. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
Well, there's a lot of black Catholics in Louisiana from where I'm from.
Okay.
So when we migrated to Texas, I was like, whoa,
Might well,
just up here.
might well stay what you know.
We go to church like this, and they're
Oh, you start doing church. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's the old lady.
here. It ain't too many black Catholics in Texas.
Ah.
Baptists.
Y'all be in church dancing and
Oh
shit.
yeah, it's for 4 hours.
Yeah, Catholics, hour and you're out.
Mm-hmm.
Now that sounds like something I could probably, maybe.
And get it done before the Cowboys play.
Oh yeah, that's what we be in
10
church
o'clock.
praying for.
Real, see there. Yeah. When the last time you been in church? Shut up.
Shit.
Exactly. You count on his toes and shit
Christmas, Easter.
No, we ain't gonna go.
now. 83
Probably.
when you had a little gray
Got
seat.
the suit. Pass it to my son.
Lordy.
Been so long he can't fit it down.
So we started looking at some Catholic schools around us, and we're like, oh, this one's a little too small. We want them to be well educated but well versed in the world at the same time. So not too small classrooms, but not too big. And so we found a particular school located pretty close to us. So we began that dialogue, and dialogue seemed fine.
Right.
And I was like, after I got off the phone, called my wife, and I was like, sounds good. I had a great conversation with the admissions director. I let her know my background, the schools, and she was like, oh, wow, it's great, because I obviously went to Catholic schools in the DFW area, which are connected to this school. So it was like, felt like a really good fit. I really liked the lady. And then I was like, ooh. I realized I
Omitted some
I
information.
I omitted some key information in the conversation, but I don't think to say that.
No,
Why should
would
I, you
right.
know?
Why should, so okay, so let's keep going because
What
I'm
was the key information?
well, you asking me?
No, I mean,
I mean, the key thing that I omitted was I'm not married to a man. I'm married to a woman, so that drastically could potentially, for some people, change their mindsets.
Mm.
And so my wife and I had a conversation. She's like, I think you need to call the lady back.
And I insisted that she call and tell them
mm-hmm.
because I just envisioned the girls getting into the school and then at some point them finding out, and that would be it.
Right.
Yeah. And so, we went as far as, signing up for the tour, the whole thing. And so I called her back and I was like, I just wanted to correct you, from our earlier conversation. I just want to let you know, yes, I am married.
Mhm.
My other half is a teacher,
Right.
but she's a woman.
Oh,
The lady paused. She didn't act any differently. And I was like, well, have you had any same-sex couples? And her reaction was, I believe we've had 3. They've all been women, no men. And I was like,
That's bad that she knew
How many?
off the top of her
Exactly
head
how
how
many.
many.
yeah.
So that means
It's-
that's
it's-
something that stuck with you.
You got to be a stupid motherfucker to not remember the number 3. You know what I mean? So y'all wouldn't want your kids to be in a school if you can't count 3. Right?
Boy,
So,
Yeah, it just means they're up in everybody's business.
yeah.
and that too. That too.
Yeah. So my initial thought was, if this is gonna go bad, this conversation is gonna go real quick. It's gonna be a 5-minute call. I was on the phone with her for another like half hour, and so she was like, I think it's great, and I was like, well, do you foresee any issues with our children attending the school? And she's like, oh, definitely not from the teachers, the faculty, and that. And I was like, okay, what about the students? They're like, and she's like, no. I was like, parents? And she's like, well, I can't say for parents because every parent is different. I don't know what people are walking around thinking or anything like that.
Right.
But we don't allow that type of stuff to go on at our school. So I was like, okay, great. So after the half hour, hung up the phone, immediately called my wife, and I was like, seems like things are copacetic until they weren't. So we were
When were they weren't? What made them not weren't?
So we started this conversation with her September, followed up in November. Then the last follow up was December. The tour was officially set for January 29th.
So they had 4 months to stew on this.
Yeah, so this is not like I have not talked to the admissions director
Numerous
multiple times.
Right.
You have my name. You can go search the schools. It's not that hard to figure out. Like, Black Catholic.
Right. That's what I was wondering, if she knew you were black.
I don't think so. I don't really have a very quote unquote black name. It's pretty vanilla.
Right.
So I don't foresee that as being an issue. And so the Wednesday before the tour, ring, 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 and I'm looking down. It says the school on my phone, but I'm in the middle of I'm working. So I was like, well, I can't talk to you right now. And I was like, oh man, I hope everything is fine. And you know, maybe it's a follow up because they had sent emails. Hey, just a reminder, the tour is this day at this time. And so by the time I got off the call, I checked the voicemail and it was the principal, which I had not spoken to this entire time. And so I rang the principal back up and said, hey, this is so-and-so returning your phone call. I don't know what it's about. So, basically let me know what's going on. And she went on very scared, like, and timid. And I was like, what are you trying to say here?
Just get to the point.
Yeah. And she's like, I was just looking at the records and the information that you submitted. And I was like, is there something wrong with it? Like, what's up? And so X person is, what are they? I was like, my wife?
What are they?
What are they?
Yeah, because they didn't know. I was like, well,
You should've said
they're listed as
they're a panther.
I was like, they're listed as the second parent.
Right.
And I was like, she's like, so she's the second parent? I said, yes. So your relationship is married for 5 years now. Okay. And so you have the 2 daughters? Yes. We're looking at the preschool program. I was like, is there a problem? And she's like, well, this is a Catholic school.
Yeah, I know.
Shit.
Yes.
We've been talking.
For 4 months.
You remember when we called 4 months
No,
ago?
it's a Catholic school, and if you look at the records, I went to Catholic school, so I'm very, very sure that this is Catholic school.
Yeah, I
And
did
she's
this
like,
shit
well,
on purpose.
Right?
She's like, well, our teachings believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I was like, yeah.
What is that? What does she mean? Her the
Yeah, because
teachings?
their biblical
ABCs and 1, 2,
foundation.
3.
Oh, the-
Yeah.
Okay.
Their
Yes.
biblical foundation is that they teach, because the Bible says that marriage is between a man and a woman, that's their philosophy or whatever.
But I went to
But
Catholic
she went to
school,
Catholic
baboos, and no one talked about gay people.
See,
They didn't
that's
say
what-
that they were wrong. They didn't say they were going to go, die in hell and
See, and that's what
burn
I was
up.
asking. That's what-
Never
Yeah.
happened. So
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't
what I was gonna say.
expecting-
So in school,
never-
they never taught you anything about.
They talked about, hey, this is marriage, And so the assumption when you're a kid was man and woman. They didn't say, oh, it's got to be this or this or this.
Right.
They never did that.
Right.
From age 3 to 17.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's why she
no
was
one.
comfortable
So
with
that's why I was like,
sending the girls there.
who cares?
Right.
Because guess what? I went to school with kids that weren't Catholics.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe something entirely different. So it's the same thing in my mind.
Right.
So she goes on to say this information. I was like, I'm aware. She's like, but that's not what you believe. And I was like, no, it's not what I believe. But I believe in the best education for my children and in the environment. And that's what I'm going after.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is there an issue with that? She's like, well, I just feel like you won't be able to instill what we want to instill in the children. I was like, why not? I've done it before. I'm a product of.
Right.
She's like, yeah, I can see that you went to, these are really good schools. I was like, exactly. That's just what I'm trying to do for my children. I was like, so what are you trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah. Not what are you trying to say? What are you saying?
Yeah. So
Because-
I basically pushed her to say it. And she goes,
I just need a I just need a